always let your clients know is not black. It's a true charcoal color that looks beautiful.
Louder, screaming louder, my superpower. Gonna take you higher.
So today's video is going to be all about pastels. There's been so many questions all over Facebook that I have read where certain hair besties would be like, what level does pastel goes on? So I have a mannequin model that I have right here. As you can see, all of her hair is a level 10. This is a perfect canvas for pastel color. So how do we tell and distinguish if it's a level 9 or 10? When hair is wet, it will always look darker, so you don't know if it's a 9 or 10 actually. So this is why it's very important to have the swatch book on hand. So I made and created a swatch book that looks like this, that you can get on mydentity.com, and inside is a page insert that looks just like this in the back. This is the natural underlying pigment level finder that will help. So you can see here, when you lighten hair, it goes from red, orange, gold, all the way up to a level 10. And I'm gonna put this next to the mannequin head, and you can see as I lift her hair up, you can see that it touches a level 10 right here on that swatch page. And you can see that level 9 right there is a lot more yellow. If you have a lot of yellow in your hair that's at level 9, pastel will only neutralize or mute the color. It won't actually pop like you want it to. So remember, what pastel is in direct dye is that it's less pigment than a full pigment dye. So let's pull out that swatch page as well as also in the swatch book. So you will get inside the swatch book the pastel page, and it looks like this. And here is a full pigmented direct dye superpower page. As you can see, the pigment level is actually more dense. It has more dye load. So more dye load means there's lots of pigment. So lots of pigment means it's gonna go darker, it's gonna be richer, it's gonna be more vibrant or intense. Pastel means there's less dye load. So you get more of the base and less dye pigment. So if the hair is only at a level 9, you're not gonna have enough to cover that yellow that you see, right? So that's why the canvas has to be on a level 10 when it comes to pastel, regardless of the brand. And I think this is where certain hair besties might be like, well, I used Guy Tang's pastel and it didn't last forever. But it's also about the knowledge that you have and understand what canvas you put it on. So we have Mint of Steel, Lavender Lust, Cosmic Coral, okay, Pink Diamond, Arctic Blue, and Charcoal. And you can see here these dyes like Lightning Bolt, Phoenix Fire, Green Aurora, Purple Raven, Blue Mystique, they're very, very dark, very pigmented. Now, you can mix them together. So if you want more pigment in your pastel, you can always inject a corresponding shade in this darker pigment. So you get an in-between tone. So it's not too dark and not too light. You get a balance. And that's the cool thing, because direct dyes is what you see is what you get. You can always intermix them. When you are starting on darker levels, as you can see here, this is the level finder, natural level 1, all the way to a level 10. As you can see, like I am a natural level 3, right? So if you would lighten my hair, you can see here, I'm gonna have to go through this red-orange stage before I even get to gold-yellow to even get to a level 10. Now, not everybody needs to be a level 10. You only need to be a level 10 when you're doing silvers or lavenders or pastel. Now, at a level 9 or 8, let's say you want to be pastel, but pastel doesn't have enough dye load. That's when you intermix the lavender with the deeper purple, so it has more pigment, or maybe the mint with a little touch of green aurora. So with that being said, you can see here, I'll use this as an example right here. So the lavender is very soft pigmented because it's pastel. You could always inject Violet Sorcery into it, or Purple Raven. So you give it a little bit more pigment at a level 9 so you can darken that pastel so it has enough coverage for it to control the yellow at a level 9. Does that make sense? But it won't look like a true pastel unless it's on a level 10. And this is very important. If you have any questions, leave those comments below. And before I move further, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you get notification for all of my new videos. When you're lightening the hair, my preference is either Big 9 or Magnum 8 to get you to this perfect canvas. Big 9 is a cream lightener that lifts you up to 9 levels that gets you the highest lift possible. And then you have Magnum 8, which gives you up to 8 levels. It all varies depending on the canvas you're starting with. So you have great options here. Make sure you check it out on mydentitycolor.com. So I am gonna move along and we're gonna create like a halo effect. This is a very special technique I love to share. And I love Mint of Steel and Lavender. And since there's so many questions regarding it, I wanna share this technique with you today. So charcoal is my absolute fave, okay? It's unlike any other smoky colors that are out there in direct dyes because it doesn't look blue, it doesn't look green. Do not pre-tone the hair. After you lighten it or bleach the hair, leave it raw. When doing pastels, what I find is that when you pre-tone the hair, you're gonna make it look flat. You want the color to be vibrant, so the charcoal will show up true. If you pre-tone the hair, it's gonna turn blue or different tones. So this is why it's so important to make sure you apply it on a clean canvas of level 10. A lot of us always try to pre-tone, like, oh, let's put like a pearl or a violet level 9 toner on there or whatever, and then what's going to happen is that tone, that oxidative dye is going to contribute to the end result, and it's going to turn blue, and you don't want that. You don't want that gray blue color. You want it to look like a pure charcoal color. That's why do not pre-tone when you're using pastel, otherwise it'll look flat or shift the tone, right? And I know that when it's inside the bowl, it can look kind of black, but don't be scared. I'll show you what I mean by this. This is the charcoal. I'm gonna tap on my hands. And you can see how it's pastel, right? Had it been black, my skin would have just absorbed it and turned black. This is pastel. What you're seeing right here is cosmetic. It looks black, but it's really not. And I always do that little massage test so you get to see that it's actually very sheer in pigment. On camera, when you see the dye in the bowl, it looks scarier than it really is, so don't be scared of it. It's actually very, very beautiful. It's Lavender Lust. This is beautiful. Now, the thing that we need to understand about lavender is when lavender goes over blonde hair, because it has that violet purple base to it, it can neutralize the gold in the hair. So if your hair is not lifted high enough, you're just gonna get gray results, right? Because what do we know about violet and yellow hair? They cancel each other on the color wheel and turn gray, and you're not picking up as much pigment as you want. And a lot of times we're like, oh, I don't know what I did wrong. Why did the lavender didn't do anything? Why didn't it, turn lavender? It just looks like, taupe or gray. Well, that's because we didn't put enough pigment in it, or the hair is not lifted high enough. And this is very important to understand, that we always have to go back to the color wheel and then understand that pastel is pastel, and we are the creative ones, and we need to understand how to customize these shades according to our client's canvas that we're applying it to. And I'm just going to use my finger and put it right on my skin here, and you can see, look how soft that color is, right? We always just look at the dye in a bowl and go, oh my God, that's lavender. But look, the pigment is actually very, very soft. So this goes back to why we always have to understand pastel is pastel. We can't judge something based off of how it comes out of the tube according to our eyes. We have to massage it through to see how pigmented it is. It's always the way it is with anything in life, right? It's not just, oh, GuyTang color. And I feel like a lot of times now, everyone wants to blame everything and everybody but themselves. But it all comes back to our knowledge. So we're gonna use Mint of Steel. This is my absolute favorite shade. Mint is so beautiful. Mint has like that seashell, iridescent, pearlized tone, right? It's not like a light green. It's like a opal. It's beautiful, and it needs a lot more love. What I love about the pastels is that it gives this soft, powdery finish that makes the color that wearable. So as it wears off and fades over time, it's gonna look gorgeous, right? So let's go ahead and just like dabble our finger into that. Now I wanna show you here, look how soft that color is, right? You can see right there is that mint is soft. So the mint is going to be the highlight tone, and then we're going to have lavender as the mid-light tone, and the charcoal will be the base and the shadow tone. So we're going to use these tones to create a story, almost like an opalized color, so it looks like it's glowing and it's gorgeous. So what I love to do with direct dyes after I pre-line the hair is add quite a bit of Olaplex into it, right? Because Olaplex has a pH of 3.5, and this is a great time to repair the hair So I'm just gonna make sure I pour a good amount. And because it's direct dyes, you're not gonna interfere with the lifting process or anything like that. You're able to, you know, condition, repair the hair as you deposit color. And because the direct dyes has a pH of 3.5 anyways, it's not gonna affect the deposit on the pre-lightened hair. So you can add a little bit more Olaplex so you get more of that conditioning and protective effect. And then I'm also gonna add in the Guy Tang collagen powder. Now, collagen powder is known for its anti-aging effects on skin, hair, and everything. It helps us have more a youthful feel, more elasticity to our hair and our skin. So now you get to use the Guy Tang collagen powder in the color or the lightener. I'm going to use a full scoop here because at this point we can treat and protect the hair. So I'm just going to put it into each of the shade and I'm going to stir it right on in nice and gently, and then we're ready to apply. I love this because the hair is going to feel so soft and look so healthy and shiny after the coloring process. Right, so this is how we're going to section her hair off. We are going to create our usual horseshoe shape at the top. So you're gonna see me go into a point in the back here. This is very crucial. It's very simple, and that's what I love about this technique. Sometimes we make things too difficult, there's too many shapes, and then we make our life harder. This is simple and it's very easy to do in the salon, which I think is very, very important. What I've discovered is that if I could find a way to make something more simple and easy and that we could use on a daily basis, that is a plus. Sectioning the hair is very important. As you can see here, I did a clean horseshoe shape with a point in the back. Section that off. What I find is sometimes when we do some of these techniques, when there's too many shapes, too many things to juggle with, it makes it complicating to remember on how we get to customize it on our client's head. This makes it simple. You just want to get that top above the parietal, everything on top going into a point right in the back. So make sure this point goes all the way down, touches that occipital bone area, right? This is very important. So don't put it at that crown or the apex where the hair has a swirl or a cowlick, because you want this to go back beyond that cowlick into that occipital bone right in through here. And we are gonna target the bottom first, okay? So we're gonna do an ombre underneath, and on top we're gonna do a halo. So the first section, what I'm gonna do is outline to define. Now I know that when we're using that charcoal, it always looks scary going on the hair, okay? And don't be afraid when it kind of touches like this, because we're gonna melt it right on in, okay? We're gonna apply that charcoal right on that routage, just like so, and we're gonna create a merge. And always let your clients know it's not black, it's a true charcoal color that looks beautiful. And you can see here, you're just gonna melt it right on in, and you can see how beautiful that tone is. Even when I lift it up, you can see that tone. And I'm just gonna use the brush to kind of sweep and feather, because we want the colors to merge and melt. Down here, and we're gonna feather it down just like that. That's why I say don't be afraid when you feel like you might accidentally, you know, melt it through, because pastels are very forgiving. Make sure your gloves are always clean so you don't contaminate the other parts of the hair, but you get to feather. And I'm doing a full, complete outline. So when you do the outlining, it just makes your application a lot more easy. I divide the hair from the point in the back, separate it in two. This is where I continue to outline to separate, so I get to do one section at a time and make sure I don't forget anything. The worst thing to do is you finish the whole head and then you realize you forgot a whole section, and sometimes that can happen. That has happened to me in the beginning of times when I didn't do much sectioning. That's why I feel like always cross-check, don't always think you're finished. Always make sure that you cover everything, and you know, make sure that you do things into sections sometimes, because it ensures that you have even coverage and you didn't miss any spots. See, from this point on, what you can do is fold everything over. So I do this and I fold the hair over just like so, right? Apply right on the surface, section it right down vertically, fold the hair over. This ensures that you don't miss any spots and that you have clean application. This is the Guy Tang color canvas board, And what I love about it is that it creates a surface that I get to lay the hair on, which makes life a lot more easier and makes things more cleaner. So you get to see how the color looks like when I apply it. So I finished applying the charcoal down on the routage. Now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do a color melt. So I like to apply one color at a time. And a lot of us try to do one section and melt the color down. Do one section and melt the color down. And what happens is we're gonna have to re-wipe our hands and it cross-contaminate each other. We're gonna use the lavender first before we go into the mint of steel. What I find is that when you do one color first, what happens is by the time you switch to the next color, it gives time for the color to sink in. So for example, when I apply the lavender all throughout and then go back in with the mint, this color already sat in, so it won't bleed down to the bottom. Not that pastels would bleed, but when you start swiping and swiping, that one color can dull the other color, and that's very natural how that can happen. So that's why it's very important to do one at a time for me. I find that works the best. Look how beautiful that color just melts right through, right? You swipe it down. And I want to bring the lavender down as far as possible. But you see how I'm merging that charcoal right in, right? So that charcoal is there to create a foundation, like a shadow root, muting at the scalp. Because what I find is that when we just apply one color all over from the scalp to ends, the scalp always glow because the hairs separate on the scalp more. And it makes it look kind of like a bad wig. So that's why adding that shadow root down at the scalp with the charcoal ensures that the color looks more believable, more real, more grounded. And that's why you always see me do a shadow root. All right, so now that I'm done applying the lavender, I'm gonna open the hair out and we are gonna target the ends here. So take a look at the ends right here. You can see that it's about a good 3 to 4 inches out, and I'm gonna use the clean brush that I just pulled out from the color canvas, and we are gonna apply the mint. I am gonna target right on the ends first, right through here, before you see me start swiping up through the mids, because I want the ends to get the purest tone, and then use the remaining and then open that hair up, because the hair tends to rope in between, and you'll be surprised how these two actually merge together pretty well and to create a nice opal tone, right? So this is when you use that residual product to have an in-between, and that's how you don't cross-contaminate. And what's interesting is when they merge and touch each other, they almost create like a soft blue tone in between, like a powdery blue transition, which is really cool right there. And that's how they blend so well together. So I'm just gonna grab the ends right here, repeat the same thing. How important it is to spread that product so you can get in and open it up. Because remember, direct dyes don't have ammonia, so it's gonna need your help to really push that product in, and you don't wanna miss spots. And you can see here, applying that mint over that lavender is creating a nice powdery blue in between. All right, so you can see how everything is laid out in the back. It's all done. So what I'm gonna do is remove the color canvas out the way, just like that. And you can see how the hair is gonna lay right here. Apply and work everything from the front, because we're gonna over direct everything towards us. And I'm gonna share a little bit more with how and why and who you would use this technique on, because that's very important, because this technique is not for everybody. So I'm gonna shadow root everything yet again on the top before we start applying the color. All right, so from this point, we're gonna repeat what we did initially with the charcoal. We are gonna paint the charcoal on the routage area. Apply the color very nice and neat. You could blur it a little bit if you like, if you want to smudge the shadow root down further. Now that you see I outlined the hair line and everything with the charcoal, I am going to go from the point in the back and divide the hair in half. And this is how I ensure that I get everything, right? You can see that I already applied the charcoal to the front and to the back, and we're just going to apply it right on that rootage right there. And fold the hair over as I go. So I already finished placing the charcoal down on the routage. Now I'm gonna bring back in the canvas, and we are gonna put the mannequin or your client's head facing right into the board. And you can see here, I am gonna take a very fine section, and this is where we're gonna over direct everything towards the face. We're gonna create an over-directed shine line. Everything is gonna direct towards the front. The mint is gonna be the color that glows the most. And why do I choose mint to glow? Well, think about it, right? Mint has yellow in it. Anything with green has yellow. Yellow is always going to be the brightest color. Lavender is going to be darker than mint. So always remember that. The mint is going to pop, and because we're over directing everything towards the front, what's going to happen is when we spread this out, it's going to create a halo glow around the side of the head. When the client has a long face and you're creating a halo glow around the head, you're expanding the face, giving it more width. So if your client already has a wide face and you're putting this halo glow around the head, you're making their face look bigger. So this is very important, that some clients do have a small face and they want to have more expansion. This is a great technique for that client. For your clients who have wider faces and want to elongate it, this is where you want to put the face framing on point, so that way everything stretches longer. So this is when this technique comes in, when the client wants to have more width because their face might be too small or petite. All right, so we're gonna go in with the next formula here, and you're gonna see me apply the mint of steel. Okay, so you can see the mint of steel kind of going through. I don't really want to make just a straight line. I'm still kind of feathering and blending, as you can see, which is the key here to ensure that everything blends. So now I'm going to go in with the next shade, and I'm going to go in with lavender yet again. Right? We're not trying to create straight lines, because straight lines will look a little bit too harsh. We still want a blend. We're going to close it off with the charcoal. So this is what's going to make it look very, very interesting, is that we're putting the shadow retouche or the darker shade on the very ends. This is what's going to create that fluid blend and flow that makes it look so unique. Sometimes what I like to do is apply the ends first, because that helps, gives it tension so the hair doesn't move around. You can see how it's creating tension, and by having this board here, it creates a flat surface for me to paint on heavily. The client's face is actually right underneath. She's probably on her phone right now, you know, on Instagram or whatever. She'll be watching Bling Empire, which is a show that I'm on. Just like that. I am going to choose to go ahead and put the mint on first, just because I feel like the mint is easier to cross-contaminate. So I just want to make sure I lay that down before I use the darker shade, which is the lavender that kind of blurs it together. A lot of hair besties might not realize, but I did the wigs for Meg Thee Stallion and the WAP music video with Cardi B in 2020. So I felt like that music video was so fun and so awesome, and I'm so happy to be part of it. And that's why I want you to definitely see it. I'm mimicking the same thing I did on that wig. So while I'm doing this, I want to do a quick little story time that I want to share with you, because I feel like this is such a story that we all can relate to. So when I was in beauty school, right, I was known as that kid who was very studious. I was always going to the beauty supply store. I'll sit down, read information about every single brand that I want to know everything about hair. Every product, every brand, you name it. And there was this one girl named Sarah that I really admire. She was an educator for another brand, right? So at that time, she's like, you know, when you get out of beauty school, come to me, you can assist me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep her in mind. I'm gonna work, you know, assist her and everything like that. So when I got out of beauty school, I graduated, I reached out to her, I became her assistant. I was so happy to work at this like high-end salon in Oklahoma, because that's where I'm from. And over time, what was really interesting was I admire her. I look up to her because she was like my mentor. I was like, oh man, my God, I get to assist her and everything. She let me do hair and assist her. Well, what happened was her client, Megan, who I'm still friends with now, and this was like 16 years ago, right? I ended up doing her hair, assisting, and Megan ended up liking me more. Her client ended up requesting from me the next time she came back. So the next time Megan came back, she was like, can Guy do my hair instead of you, Sarah? Oh my God, Sarah was so mad. I did not even know she was that mad. She was kind of quiet. She gave me the silent treatment throughout the day, and she kept on saying, you know, go clean the bathroom, go get me lunch, go fetch my client lunch, actually go get everyone else lunch. And that's all I did all day. She would not let me do another client. And then she had a smoke break. She pulled me outside, and you know what she said to me? She said, you may be a rock star in beauty school, but this is the real world, honey. I will never forget what she said to me. My heart was broken. I was shaking because, you know, for her to say like, hey, you know, just because you think you're the best in beauty school, you just got out. You need to listen to me. And I didn't even know she was mad. But that day, her clients start switching over to me. I had to leave that salon. It's so crazy that sometimes within our community, and someone who you think is your mentor is jealous of you. And I think that this is very, very common, and it's okay. You know, you have to understand that they're insecure. And I knew it right away that she's insecure. I wasn't mad at her, but I came to that realization and I made a good friend out of it. Me and Megan not only are still friends and still talking, we still remember that day. So no matter, you know, where you're at in your life when you just get out of beauty school, just know that this process is a journey for you to figure yourself out. Believe in yourself. Don't let anyone discourage you. How many of you can relate to this story? How many of you guys have got out of beauty school and you have assisted someone and they treat you like crap and make you just like, you know, run their errands? Because I was like, you're supposed to mentor me. I was supposed to help you do hair. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but leave your comments below because I want to know your experience when you first got out of beauty school. All right, I am done with the model's hair. The model, the mannequin head. It looks so beautiful. As you can see, the charcoal shadow root create that smoke that just mutes out that scalp so you don't get that bright glow. But take a look at that mint of steel. This mint of steel is very icy and it's very cool tone. It has that iridescent opal reflection that I'm talking about. It's not just, oh, green and light green. It has like a glow to it that looks so unique. I can explain to you why mint of steel is like my top favorite color. I love it and I think it needs more love because a lot of people can be afraid of it because they think, oh, green, I don't want green. But look, you can see this is not just green. It's mint and icy, and that lavender kind of going through in, just give it that extra, you know, like reflection. And then you have that charcoal going through the ends. You can see these little charcoal pieces. It gives it like an outline because had it just been the mint going down, it would just look like light. But now you have that dark outlining that light. It creates like a story, more dimension to it. It looks so beautiful. I can't explain to you how beautiful this is. You can see, and I mean, yeah, you have eyes, you can see. So I hope you love this video. Make sure you click a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm gonna put all of the formula below in the comments so you get to see how I formulate this color, and you can get all of these colors on mydentitycolor.com. You can place your order for them, or you can go to Cosmoprof and Armstrong McCall at the stores to get these colors as well. And make sure you download my music on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, everywhere you consume music. I'm so excited because I have more new music coming out. So thank you so much for the love and support. Leave comments below. Tell me how you feel about this tutorial because I love it. And one more thing I want to add on. You can see how adding that mint on the side really create that expansion. It really creates width and density and thickness and makes your eyes travel out, right? That's exactly what I was talking about. This is gorgeous. Hope you like it, and see you next time on my next video. Subscribe, okay? Bye. Follow me on TikTok. Bye.